Go. All right. Hello, everyone. So, look, it's a good day. I mean, it is a great day. Now, Phil's obviously on the table. They lose again last night. And, Ranger, man, it's been a while now since he's won a game. He wasn't hit around too hard last night, but it wasn't.
It seemed like it was
wasn't
a little
sharp.
bit better.
Wasn't
but
sharp.
Not what it needs to be.
Wasn't sharp.
I'm
starting to think he's not going to win the Cy Young. I'm just starting now.
Jimmy, is it dead arm that can be fixed?
Yeah, of course. I think it is a usage thing. I think he did look sharper last night than he had prior to the break. I think that week plus off helped. But yeah, look, we've never seen Ranger go this deep into games. He was going deep into games this year, throwing 113 pitches, stuff like that. Like, I think he needs a little break on the arm.
I'll just say this, and then we'll get to the Eagles. There's a whole nother theory, which I think we got to bring into focus. He probably just pitched over his head in the first 2.5 months.
He's not Zach Wheeler. He's not as good. He's not an ace, but I do think that what we've seen the last few starts, he's better than that.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't won a start since early June. And, we're getting near late July. So, just tuck that away. And obviously you can weigh in on the Phils last night and Rangers specifically, 215-592-9494.
You have to have people hit other than Bryce Harper, too.
You do.
Like the offense was Bryce. Let's get a little more than that going.
No, that is fair. All right, speaking of getting it going, Philadelphia Eagles today, ladies and gentlemen. They get it going today with training camp. So, look, there's a lot of ways to tackle this, and we want to hear from you at 215-592-9494. More than anything, I want to really lean into today to the excitement you feel and the positivity you feel about this football team. A squad that, let's be real, has championship aspirations, and rightfully so. Last year was miserable, but there's a lot about this year to be pumped up about. And I'm curious what you're, most pumped up about at 215-592-9494. Let me give you an answer from my standpoint, John, because I was thinking about it before the show. Like, what is the thing? If I had to say one thing that has me most energized about this football season, and look, you guys know, while energized, I haven't been as energized as I want because there's questions about the coach, there's questions about the quarterback. I mean, until they play a game, the last thing we saw was the disaster in Tampa, right? That doesn't change until they play a game. Although I will say that can change pretty fast if they come out fast to start the season. I mean, if they beat Green Bay, that'll be an impressive Week 1 win, and we'll be really pumped up really quick. But
what does energized for you mean? Does it mean like you feel like you could lift a house right now?
Lift a house right now. It
Seriously,
it means
you got the blood flowing. You feel like you could jump higher, run faster.
I think
you really do
walk
feel
faster.
stronger.
Walk faster.
I'll put it this way. On the new kickoff rule, I think I could make a tackle. New kickoff rule.
No way.
Yeah, I'm making a tackle.
No, you might be able
I'm
to.
last line of defense guy. All right?
Increase your daily
I'm
walk
last line of defense.
a tick.
Tick.
Maybe that's what
tick.
this means
all right,
for you.
So here's the deal. Here's the main thing. And again, I want to hear the main thing you're pumped up about at 215-592-9494. Here's the main thing I'm pumped up about. The greatest collection of offensive skill position players in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles. And I mean it. I mean, look, no disrespect to the combination of Terrell Owens and Brian Westbrook and Chad Lewis and Todd Pinkston, and L.J. Smith. Like, no disrespect to those guys. I mean, T.O. and B. West were totally doing their thing, no doubt. No disrespect to combinations in the late 80s where you had, like, Mike Quick and Chris Carter. I mean, you kidding me? Mike Quick and Chris Carter? Unbelievable. You go back just to 2017. It wasn't all-time, but it won you a Super Bowl. You had all these running backs. You had Alshon Jeffrey. You had Torrey Smith, right? I mean, you had a lot of good stuff. But I'm telling you guys, I do not believe the Philadelphia Eagles have ever had, and I think there's a really good chance we'll ever again have. I mean, maybe other than like next year when it's the same players. This era, right now, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley, best in the franchise's history.
There is room for improvement, though.
It's unbelievable.
You know that. It is
unbelievable to assemble this kind of talent. Now, look, they're all right now healthy. I wouldn't say they're all in their prime. Saquon in year 7, like I wish he was like a little bit younger, but I think Goddard should be prime, AJ should be prime, Devontae should be prime, and Saquon is close enough to the prime. You want to talk about what I'm freaking pumped up about? When this team gets to practice tomorrow and training camp today and the preseason games in a couple weeks and the regular season games in early September, what I am most pumped up about is to see an offense with explosive capabilities with 4, not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 star players at their position, skill position players. It's an incredible advantage in the NFL. Look, want to hear from everyone at 215-592-9494. As the Eagles go to camp today, what you're really jazzed up about. John, what do you think?
The best teams have star players, and we're no different. We have a special version at the running back position, though. I'm excited for the run game. I'm excited because Saquon is going to be an absolute revelation. We've never seen anything like this. Remember last season when with DeAndre Swift, it felt different than it had with Miles Sanders. It was more productive. It was a little burstier. We were getting bigger chunks every once in a while. Well, magnify that because this guy, this player, who happens to be 27, by the way, Joe, you're saying, oh, I wish you were a little younger. This is the age that I was always told I would be in my physical prime. Like as a professional athlete, 27 is when everyone points to, for males, that this is going to be your best year. Just so happens Saquon gets his best year finally behind, holy cow, this offensive line. Think about this offensive line for this run game. First of all, it's coached by Jeff Stoutland, a master.
Yeah.
Then center, you've got Cam Jurgens, who's got a ton to prove. A guy who was handpicked by the all-world departing center, Jason Kelce. Our guards are incredible. Landon Dickerson, we know that last year everyone around the league respects what he was able to do physically. Now, we potentially have the Steen kid, Tyler Steen, who I thought was nasty in preseason. Run blocking wise, this guy will get after you. It's either him or Mekhi Becton. If it's Mekhi Becton out there, we have 800 pounds of guard. 800 pounds of guard for Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts to run behind. And oh, by the way, Jalen Hurts this year is not the injured Jalen Hurts version who's wearing a knee brace and running slow. This is Jalen Hurts healthy, who will hold that backside, who absolutely blocks a man himself with his presence because he is a threat again. And now the 800 pounds of guard, Saquon Barkley. Oh, by the way, you can also throw it to Saquon. So little check downs and things like that.
A lot of possibilities there. Yep.
This run game, commandeered by Jeff Stoutland, who is amongst the best, if not the best, offensive line coaches in the NFL. It will be creative. Now you've got Kellen Moore, who's handling the pass protection. So our quarterback will be healthier. He'll stay more upright. That will carry over to the run game because he will be healthier. He will hold that backside better. That's better for Saquon. Saquon, we talk about big plays all the time. This staff is so hell-bent on stopping the big plays defensively, looking for big plays offensively. Saquon Barkley is a big play waiting to happen. All you got to do is hand off to him. This guy will go and score for you from 75 yards, from 90 yards, from 60 yards. It doesn't matter. I love that part of this. And that's something that we sort of forget because we've watched the run game all the way back to Andy Reid be abandoned periodically.
Well, look, he's
when
obviously
you have a run game
the best,
that works, it works from everywhere on the field.
Yeah.
Big plays will occur with regularity with this guy and this O-line and this coaching staff.
Look, best running back, obviously, the Eagles have had since LaShawn McCoy, which they had him for a good portion of his prime. Saquon might be better. Saquon, I think, was better. The question is whether he's still better, but he's of that ilk. I mean, you're talking about obviously one of the 5 best running backs in football.
Primed for the best season of his career.
He should be hungry.
He's in his physical prime.
Yeah.
He's behind the best line he's ever run behind with something to prove.
Well, and again, the wide receivers are going to help him. I mean, I think one of the things that helped LaShawn back then
Think about that.
Deshaun was able to go deep and stretch the defense, and a safety had to go to Deshaun, and it left the middle of the field, and it created opportunities.
Imagine if they try to jam up the box. Imagine if they try to add a safety.
Yeah.
Then you can't double both Devontae and AJ.
Yep.
You've got single coverage.
Look,
they will always win single coverage.
The
those two
offensive
players.
firepower is phenomenal. Look, we want to hear from you at 215-592-9494. Eagles report to training camp in a couple of hours. What's got you most pumped up? Seltzer, talk to me. What hit you this morning as the Birds go to camp?
Answers. We're finally going to get answers. You just talked about it. The greatest set of skill position players we've ever seen. Kellen Moore, a proven, knows what he's doing offensive coordinator to come in here and fix the scheme, and we're going to see a real-looking offensive NFL scheme this year. We're getting answers. Within the last year, I've gone from are Jalen and Nick the best quarterback head coach combo in the history of the Eagles to are they going to be here next year?
Yeah, that's true.
That's how, in 1 year, how much has changed. We're going to get answers. Like, there is no more excuses for either of these guys. Like, it's all set up for you. Go grab it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I wouldn't call that as exciting as I would call it
nerve-wracking.
We're gonna find out.
I don't know that we're gonna
we
find
might not
out.
love our answers, but we might. I mean, we'll see. But let's put it this way: the dinner table is certainly set for both of them to feast. Because of what we just talked about over the last 10 minutes.
Definitely feast. But how is anyone to judge the head coach with his new capacities? That's the part that I'm unclear on.
Well, I think the key is him being part of the process of getting Jalen back, Humpty Dumpty back together. Because I don't believe it's just Kellen Moore. I just don't believe that. I don't believe a head coach doesn't have a part in that. So it's it's culture, and obviously it's, in-game decision-making, which, for instance, I think historically he's been better at than Andy Reid. I certainly believe that. Rhea, what pumps you up the most about this Eagles team?
What Saquon Barkley will be able to do for A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Did you know, I didn't realize this, the last 6 games of last year, A.J. had no touchdown catches.
Well, I know it went way down. Yeah,
Devontae
way
had
down.
2. He had a 100-yard game, and he had 6 in a row earlier in the year. And also what Saquon can bring to the passing game. When he played with Odell Beckham Jr., it's when he had his best numbers as a receiver, 791 passing yards. So I just love what he can do for those two because defenses were able to just close at him. And a final thing, which, Sean, you brought up about playing behind this offensive line. In his 6 years in New York, 29 different starting offensive linemen.
Boy, that's a disaster.
A complete disaster. Now put him behind this line.
And he had, a barely competent quarterback.
Yes.
And definitely not competent wide receivers.
No. I just think it could be huge.
Look, a lot here today on Saquon. Obviously, by the way, Saquon, an interview from yesterday. We're going to play a lot of audio today on the show because he said some really interesting stuff about joining the Eagles, leaving the Giants. We'll get to that. We'll rock your calls. Now, notice none of us, when talking about what we're most pumped up about, reference the defense. It's not to say there aren't some things to be pumped up about. The secondary should be a lot better, but the pass rush is a question mark. I'd say a pretty big question mark. I'd also say the linebackers are a pretty big question mark.
What year is that? 2,500 in a row?
Exactly.
The last time the pass rush was a huge question mark, we got 70 sacks during the regular season, and we led the NFL.
So
last time
I don't remember
our
that.
DBs
were
a major question mark.
I don't think it was
which
a
last
major
season.
I don't
mark.
either. I think
Yeah.
John's wrong there. I mean,
What do you mean?
Well, we knew they had a pretty damn good pass rush. We knew they had Fletcher. We knew they had a younger Brandon Graham. We knew they had Josh Sweat, who
They
seemed
just
to be
had
coming
out of
Reddick, who had
nowhere.
multiple years of double-digit sacks
Reddick,
prior.
the
Not
70
Reddick
sacks
prior.
It's not a
out of
question mark.
Nowhere.
Well,
They
look,
came
no
out
one
of
expected
nowhere.
70
No, we
sacks.
expected 70, but this
Yeah.
year is a way bigger question mark for the pass rush
For
than
sure.
that year was.
For
Yes,
sure. All right, look.
that's true.
215-592-9494. So where you stand on the Birds. Now, Phil's also, we're going deeper on last night's game coming up next, but also the Eagles. What's got you most pumped up? They go to camp today. It's a great day. It is a great day to have the Birds back. Joe DeCamera, John Ritchie. It's 94 WIP.